let's kick it off with my Wrapped. And then we get to some of you guys Wrapped as well that you guys sent to me. Yes, man, it's that time of the year. It's that time of the year where we get to see the moment of truth. What's been consumed? What's the algorithm pushing for us? What's our level of what's our stats looking like? And for every music enthusiast, this is like Christmas come early for us. So shout out to everybody that I sent over their Spotify Wrapped. And people that were not using Spotify, my heart goes out to you. You know, the Apple Musics and the YouTube Musics were a little bit difficult to like fit into my format, but I still made some still made the cut. Okay, we're not going to exclude all the YouTube Music and Apple Music. All right, I'm just playing. Please, YouTube, Apple, call me. But anyway, man, yeah, we're about to get into it. First, I'm kicking it off with my Wrapped. So let's get through it. 49 genres. It's not a lot, but we're able to cover some. How did my taste stack up? And what is the genres looking like? Nigerian pop, rap, okay, Afrobeats. Anyway, I played 4,690 songs in 2023. That's not a lot. Well, my number one song, my top song was none other than AV with Quick Question, man. And that made sense. And that absolutely made sense. This record is a bop and a half. The next record is Comme Si Comme Ça on my list by Lady Don Lee. A fucking fantastic record from just overall live instrumentation from it. Anyway, we had those cuts. We'll get to the rest of them. 69,000 over here. 2,000 artists. And let's see my number one artists for this year. Asake, there you go. I'm in the 1%, okay? For 2 years in a row now, Asake has been my number one. 2 years in a row. Crazy. But yeah, man, Asake did his thing. My special message came from Davido instead, actually. But yeah, man, number one for me, Asake. Number two, you guessed it, Davido. Number two, Davido for me. Number three, we have Adekunle Gold. No one guessed Adekunle Gold. I definitely see Adekunle Gold coming, man. But yeah, no surprises for me on this. Ruga at number four. No surprises whatsoever over here. And then we have Nonso Amadi, which was a good guess that someone was able to throw in there. You notice that these artists were based on the releases of albums this year. So these five artists had strong albums for me, and hence why they are a big part of this. But podcasts, listen to New Rory Amal. Loose Talk is there, but it's number 5. All the other rest are Yankee podcasts. But anyway, man, this is the final rundown. So Asake, Davido, Adekunle Gold, Ruga. Quick Question, and number one for me. Freaking Spin, Comme Si Comme Ça, Yoga by Asake, Jonesy Boy, and then Bocard by YKB. A fucking bop and a half, bro. A bop and a half. That's where I have it right now. Yeah, that was it for my basically my Wrapped 69K this year for 69K minutes. Was a bit higher than my last one. My last one was around 40. 69, a lot more music. But still feels quite like low. I mean, but then again, I listened to virtually through the live streams, through the top 10 countdowns, and through many submissions that I get as well. So yeah, it virtually makes sense. Yeah, man, these are where all my, I guess, agendas were relying on. All right, so some of you sent over your Spotify Wrapped, your Apple Music Wrapped. We're going to get through all of them and kind of rank them. This one is already looking deep. It's looking stacked. 50,000 listens. 50,000 minutes listened. Asake, Odumodu Black, Loj, Olamide, and Davido. I like the fair balance of artists here. Declan Rice, 230, Asiko, Moto, and Prey. To be fair, this is a well balanced and sane individual, and these are not too basic. I mean, Asiko is not a basic point to have on this record. The rest, kind of, but But I would give a lot of like I guess depth and credence to Asiko and Moto as well, and even Pray. Shout out to Pray is a beautiful record. So this was a solid pick. I'll give this a very strong 9 out of 10 for me, man. Next up we got another one that has 6,000 minutes listened. Now we got a spread of Lil J, Wizkid, Obongjaya, Brandy, and Anderson .Paak. So this person is definitely an R&B nerd that loves the Naija Gbedu in a lot of ways, or at least like R&B and hip hop blends with Anderson .Paak. You're kind of getting those two things out of it. And Golden, Toxic. Which Toxic is that? That cannot be Benson's Toxic, or maybe Brandy has a song called Toxic. I know Brandy has When You Touch Me. But there's Leader by Lil J, Canada by Lil J. Ugh. Okay. But definitely, the same person, and I think the middle ground there is Obongjaya, and it's a nice transition. So their head is in Lil J, really, and it makes sense. I think this is not crazy. It's not too far off. I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, and not a bad spread of listens there. Let's get into someone else that has 18,000. So you kind of have a life. So shout out to you. You have Fireboy DML, you have Asake, you have Olamide, you have Omale, you have Rema. First of all, YBNL agenda, of course. We see it loud and clear. Omale and Rema is not just sprinkled there because of Sabi, you know. This Destiny has to be Barry J Destiny. Barry J Destiny, and that's a solid tune, man. So shout out to this person for Destiny. That's a nice deep cut this year by Barry J. Yawa is on here. Yawa, a very slept on record. Honestly, a beautiful song that should have been a smash hit. Ole by King Maddie and Benson. I like that. Reason on Malay, solid record. Hardcore, I'm not too sure which record that is. Do you guys know where Hardcore is? But yeah, YBNL is heavy on this one, man. 18,000 listens is not bad. And let's go into a YouTube listener, which our heart goes out to. 29K. 29K, yeah, passive, but like still in the fair and sane range for a music listener. We have Asake, we have Wizkid, we have Rema, we have Ruga, and Odumodu Black. Pretty standard. Okay, Wizkid didn't have a strong year, so you had to be a very, very dedicated Wizkid listener to have Wizkid up this year. So I can see that. Rema, of course, is a no-brainer for many. Ruga, you definitely had to be a fan of the album for it to get here. So I can see that. But Asake being your number one, which kind of makes sense. And we're both on board in the same way. So I'm there with you. You have Bakwala. This has to be a record from... Where's the Bakwala record from? Anyway, man, I can't recognize the cover art. But there's a Declan Rice record. Bado is Hardcore, Abi. Hardcore is Bado from the previous one. Yeah, that makes sense. From the album. That makes sense. Holiday, your number one record. Reason and So on my lyric record. I like this. I like the spread. I'm trying to figure out the Bakwa song. I don't think I have that on my radar, which is the Major Leagues. Okay, Major Leagues. Okay, a little Amapiano in there. I see that. This is fairly balanced spread here. I'll give this a solid 8. I like this. I would like to make this person, you know, like that's a fair spread. Now this is an Apple Music listener that only got us, or at least on this to fit on this page. We're able to get only the artist spread. Oladapo is at number 1. I already rate this person heavy. Oladapo to be your number 1, an artist that doesn't have. He has like 2 EPs out, a few features here and there. To have 1,000 minutes to Oladapo is nuts. It's crazy because compared to other people there that have way more material. So shout out to them. That has Oladapo up here. His project this year was fantastic and one of the best, honestly, in the Nigerian R&B space. So this person obviously is a Nigerian R&B like person because they have Benson right next at number 2. Then they have The Weeknd, obviously heavy on the R&B and the 80s pop and everything. And then Timmy, which I'm not too familiar with, which is nice depth there to show some depth, you know. And then we have Rema at 880 minutes, which is fair. I like this. I'll give this a very. The person has a nice spread from from the Western acts like Weekend, and obviously deep cuts here, like Oladapo and Timmy. So this song that's Sabi, man. Like this is a 9. This is a 9 for me. I'm giving this person a 9. Out of 10 for that one. Now this is a very interesting one. I could barely recognize the names here because this is very, very francophone based, and this was a Nigerian that sent it. I confirmed that this was a Nigerian listener. Once I just like saw the first couple names, I was like, this is interesting. I want to get to know all these artists, to see a Nigerian really like knee deep into them. And this is a Nigerian living in Nigeria, by the way. So, but they have only 900 minutes here, which makes me doubt how dedicated they are to this artist. So it's like, you're not really in there. You're not really like about that. But I rate it, and obviously it's one that wants to like spark your curiosity. So I'll give it a nice 6 out of 10, just out of like. But if this person was dedicated or was true to their word, like they were, then maybe. But yeah, 906 minutes is nothing, bro. Like that's not your primary platform at the end of the day. But anyway, next up we got another Asake number 1. Another Asake number 1, but this time with 14,000 minutes. Okay, this person has Asake with Modu Black, Burna, Black Sherif, and J Hus. I mean, these artists were fairly popping this year. Asake and Odumodu, Burna to a lot of extent. Dropped. These artists all dropped a lot of material, so I can see why their gaze was immediately there. Black Sheriff and J Hus is still giving me like you have a very, very like it's fairly consistent taste across the board here. All these artists really, really have similar soundscapes, with the exception of Asake, to be honest. But I think that's a nice spread of artists. Could have been a lot more. There could be a lot more range here. There could be a lot more depth to it, to be fair. But yeah, man. But let's see the top songs. We have Ni Nigeria. Ni Nigeria was, who sang Ni Nigeria again? I know he's based in the US. I forget his name, but he's based in the US. Toye is based in the US. So this is a very, very deep cut. This was a big record in Toye's context, which did a madness for him. Who Told You Bad Man Can Dance by J House, of course. Declan Rice. You Go Know. You Go Know was that Sheyi Vibes? No, wait. Who was You Go Know? Oh, Ajebo Hustlers. Yes, Ajebo Hustlers. That's a very deep cut. And Ask About Me by Mobad. Alright, not bad. 14,000, you still have a life. You're still saying you're not really about that music, people. Like you rate these artists enough. I'll give this a nice solid 8. Okay, this is a fair 8. Still could use some depth because these artists are too alike in my personal opinion. But yeah, I think could use some depth, a little seasoning in there. But yeah, man, I'm not mad at it. Yeah, this one was interesting. Mayoko at number 1. Mayoko at number 1, again, you have to be dedicated. And if you look to the right here with the top songs, we got 2 bodies, bro. Body on body on body. Like, come on. Your body counts, man. I go fair. Anyway, man, 24K is decent. You're definitely around the range that a normal like music enthusiast would be in. But having Mayoko at number 1 and Artiste and Waneko and Olamide Asake, I don't know, man. I don't want to say it's basic, but like it's still in the place where you're surprising me with a Mayoko at number 1 this year. Mayoko at number 1 this year is very intriguing, and like, where did that come from, you know? But yeah, you have some range here with Artiste, an artist that is very, very niche, I guess, in a lot of ways. So you're basically supporting that person, which is nice as well. So, I mean, I'll give this a nice balanced 7. I would say, okay, 7. I mean, Mayoko be at number 1. I mean, is that poor taste or like, in 2023, Mayoko is your number 1? I'm sorry, bro. I love Mayoko. Trust me, I love Mayoko, but a lot of material came out this year that just seemed a lot more present. But you had to be a diehard, or at least you're going back to Mayoko, you know what I mean, like classics like Body, for instance. But Body on Body is crazy, man. But I'll give this a 6. I'll give it a 6 out of 10, actually. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. We have another one with Davido at number 1, 35K. Okay, we're getting into the dedication aspect of things. 35K shows a lot of dedication to the game. We have Davido, we have Adekunle Gold, we have Asake, we have Burna, we have Benson. It's fairly safe of a spread here. These are artists that are still in the same realm. Very much like mine, we have Adekunle Gold in common, we have Asake in common, we have Davido in common. So Benson is a nice surprise here, or at least a pleasant surprise. I think this person fairly aligns with a lot of my records this year. So I would say this as a very strong spread, to be honest. Even though yes, there's some level of like, all right, safe, but the 35 hours or 35 minutes show a lot of dedication to this artist. So I rate it. Yeah, I'll give that a solid. I'll give this a solid 8.5. You know. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Now this one has Burna in the number 1 spot. We have Omale, we have Asake, we have Davido, we have Benson. A very, very strong Gen Z representation here, except Davido and Burna in a lot of ways. But yeah, the youngins are doing it for this person, Omale, Asake, Benson. And Burna number 1, obviously having Big 7 on number 1 record. This definitely is a Burna stand because we have Taliban's yet again. We have Chitomi yet again. Yeah, this is a Burna head. And the Joanna has to be Omale because there's no way you're still listening to Drogba, Joanna today, man. That would be absolutely scary if that's the case. But yeah, man, this is a solid. This is a Burna head, obviously. I'm trying to remember. Okay, I think I know who it is. I think I know who it is. He's a very, very strong Burna head. So yeah, outsiders large. I'll give this. I mean, outsiders definitely like Omale. They like Asake. It's a nice spread for an outsider. I'll give it a solid 8. 8 actually. This is a nice 8. Let's move on to the next one. This is one I was able to squeeze in the albums and songs from the Apple Music replay. We have Holiday, we have Charm, we have Feel by Davido, we have Bank of America, Sabi cut there, and then we have Omale with So. I mean, fairly basic hits, to be fair, with the exception of Bank of America being like a nice tone there, but this is fairly basic. I'm not gonna say like you went into the depths. I'd like to see how much plays or how many minutes they had all together, because I don't think this is that dedicated of a listener, but this is fairly safe, fairly like a strong reflection of the music charts this year, with the exception of like Bank of America, to be honest. But yeah, man, that was solid. Album's timeless. I love it here by Nasty, work of art. I told them All I Felt by Tariq. Okay, I rate that Tariq shout there. That was cool. And Nasty here is interesting too as well. So this is a rap head in some ways. I'll give this a nice 7. This is about it's safe. It's still reflective of a lot of the good material that came out this year. But yeah, man, that was a nice 7. And last but not the least, we have Eniola, we have Boy Malik, we have Asake, we have Davido, we have Ima. Oh my God, this is a very dedicated and well spread out music nerd. Obviously, 40,000 minutes with this niche of a few artists here. It's pretty solid. Okay, and then we just have a sprinkle of Asake and Davido there, and we have King Kong, Yele, Designers, Rhythm and Blues by Ira, interesting, and Lonely at the top as the top records. This is a very solid, and I'll say this person is definitely getting in there. It's not as basic as the previous one we just saw, and I'll rate this a lot more. I think this is a nice 8.5. I think it's a nice 8.5, and yeah, man, appreciate everyone that was able to like send their Spotify Wrapped or YouTube or Apple Music replay. I couldn't get through every one of them, but I think this was fun to get to see some people's spread of listeners. I know a lot of Asakes were present here. Asake definitely had a solid year, and Davido as well. Asake and Davido were the big winners in a lot of these picks, and of course Rema as well. Burna in some niche markets, in some spaces, but I think the biggest winner has been Asake this year, from at least the spread of a couple requests or raps that we got. So yeah, man, shout out to everybody that was able to send something over. Yeah, man.